Hey,
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you, Avery?
I'm great, Dave. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's November the 19th in the evening. We are live, are we not? Boy,
We are live. Yes.
can you believe it? This is a very special evening. We have a great guest you'll introduce in a minute. I wanted to let people know, first of all, we're both the co-artistic directors of the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company, and it's a really great honor to be able to give back to Greenwin. Some wonderful conversations with some great Canadian stars, tonight being one of those stars coming to join us in a minute. If you want to make a comment or ask a question, let me do that and we'll bring it up. And this is, I think, our last conversation, and what a better way to end it with a real wonderfully a warm, talented man. Take it away, Ave.
Okay, I wanted to introduce him because I've known him for a while. And if anybody who's ever been to the theater, I mean, pre-COVID, I mean, no one's been to the theater since COVID, but if you went to any of the major shows in this city, you saw this guy. I mean, because for over 700 performances, she starred as Frankie Valli in Jersey Boys, Forever Plaid with the Mervishes. He's starring in Come From Away now at the Royal Alex. He spent so many seasons as a star in the Shaw Festival. And if you've been to a baseball game in the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen this guy sing the anthem. So what better way to introduce our last guest with this really great guy, incredible talent, but best of all, real nice guy, Jeff Madden.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Ave. Thank you for that. That was lovely.
Well, it's kind of true, though, no? Really, you've been
kind of true.
Front and center for a long, long time.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. Yeah, I've been very lucky.
Yeah. I mean, I was telling we had a little pre-talk before, and I remember seeing you at Shaw for so many seasons, before actually working with you. And just to get this out of the way, you were one of my favorite shows ever, Floyd Collins. I mean, that show, I mean, for the audience who doesn't know, it was the true story about a man who got caught in a mine, right? And they couldn't get him out. And it was the first media event, basically, right? I mean, all the media came from all around the world to try to see this guy being dug out of the mine. And unfortunately, he passed away, stuck in the mine.
Yeah, a real happy story for a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was one of my all-time favorite experiences for sure. It was a beautiful, beautiful production, and gosh, there were so many fun shows down in Niagara-on-the-Lake. I was there from 2001 to 2008, so I did a lot of musicals and plays, and man, I had a great time down there.
Before you went to Niagara-on-the-Lake, at what point in your life did you think this career, this life was for you? Yeah. What was the narrative, the inspiration to
I had
going in that direction?
Yeah, I had a very different, like, I didn't go to I wasn't like a theater kid, I was a musician kid. Like we have musicians in our family. Both my grandfathers were musicians, and my dad was a drummer, so he hung around with musicians. No, it's a drummer joke. Yeah, I don't know. I was good. I was good at music and I was good at singing, but I hadn't really been exposed to theater until we moved to Toronto when I was like around 15. And so I only went to see my first show like around that age, 16 or something. But by then I was already I thought I was going to be like science guy. And so I went to University of Toronto to get a science degree because I guess I thought that was going to be the beginning of my path. But I was really good at music and I really missed performing. And I just literally fell into the kind of extracurricular musical environment at U of T. There's a couple different groups. and of course Hart House Theater is a very famous old theater.
Yeah.
And so I performed there, and then I just caught the acting bug, and I just realized that what I was missing was I was not just missing performing, but I was missing that aspect of myself that could create and sort of I think through acting that it just brought it out of me. And so doing musicals kind of just clicked, and then I just started studying musicals, and I just wanted to study as much as I could. So while I finished my science degree in human biology,
Wow.
I took voice lessons and acting lessons, and then when I graduated, I just took a chance and started auditioning and taking more classes. And it took a little while, but eventually I started the ball rolling. And honestly, from like 1998 on, I just kind of have been, like I said, very fortunate to just fall into jobs, work after work after work.
You realize that you had a beautiful singing voice. I mean, when did that?
Yeah, I don't, thank you. I think I sang as a kid, like whatever was on the radio, I sang. There was always music on in the house. And my folks played a lot of 60s and 70s music. And so I had a love for that, even as a boy, before I was even a teenager. I would sing along with Paul McCartney on the radio or whatever was being played. And so I think that really did have a profound profound effect on my voice. And then when I started getting into these musicals at U of T, I started taking voice lessons to kind of get the technique that that I could sing every day without harming myself and expand my range and do all those things. But it's so crazy that the pop rock songs that were played around my house when I was a little boy ended up being kind of the biggest show that I've ever done in my career is sort of based on that music,
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just I don't know. I guess it was just meant to be, guys.
Wow. Where did you move from? You said you moved to Toronto. Where did you move from?
Yeah, well, my family kind of moved all across Canada, actually. My dad was in the pharmaceutical business, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so he just was working his way up the ladder. So I was actually born in British Columbia, and just outside Vancouver, and we've lived near Montreal, and we've lived in Halifax, and in the GTA. So. Yeah.
Wow. What pharmaceutical company?
It was Merck Sharp and Dome back in the day. Merck Frost.
Oh my God, because my wife worked for them for many, many years.
You're kidding.
Now she's with another company. No.
Oh my God,
but,
amazing.
I will mention your dad's name. Okay.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see if they ever cross paths.
Yeah. So what was your first professional job? What was that like?
I think I did some like semi-professional jobs. Like you did a show and you got an honorarium at the end of it, kind of thing. And I can't really remember any of those. And then I remember working at Casa Loma during like the Christmas season. They would have a show, like a half-hour show for school groups. That was insane. And I met several really talented performers who are still in the business, believe it or not. I think my first official job was at Fourth Line Theater outside of Peterborough.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's an outdoor theater. Summer stock theater where you perform in a converted barn and out in the field, and you do Canadian plays, and it's amazing.
It is.
My first equity job, my kind of first leading role, I guess, a supporting lead anyway, equity contract was doing Lady Be Good at Manitoba Theatre Center. Wow. And good. I tell you, man, I've been there. I've been Charlottetown and the Shaw Festival forever, and all sort of places in between, Calgary, you name it.
And those Shaw Festival gigs it's a nice long contract. So yeah. So
and I live in Oakville. I live in the GTA. So anytime, you can work and kind of be real close to home, it's just such a gift because, the traveling nature of theater, like you can be living out of a suitcase and, boarding with people. Like it can be challenging for sure.
Well,
so
I got to tell you, I still am a huge fan of yours because I went to see so much at Shaw as everybody did those musicals and stuff like that. So you were pretty much in every one of them. And I went, so amazing. I want to talk a little bit about Jersey Boys because really, like I said, you did close to 700 performances as Frankie Valli here and Australia. You know, you were back and forth to Australia doing that show.
Yeah.
Can you say how that happened, and then meeting the guys and the whole audition process? Because I'm sure you had to meet all these guys. You had to be in front of Frankie Valli and all these people.
Yeah. No, I mean, that show, I mean, it's like the biggest
There you
show.
go.
Yeah, there's me and Frankie. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
What a
That's
great picture.
amazing. Flashback right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the audition, you asked about the audition. So I got involved. I guess Jersey Boys had already been a hit in New York, and they had a US tour, and I think there was a company in Chicago and maybe Vegas already. Like we were, you know, like the fourth or fifth company of it. So I knew it very well. I didn't see myself as Frankie just because I don't know. I just always thought, you know, I can't sing that high, or I can't sound like that, or I'm too tall. Like, because Frankie's really short and I'm not tall. But like they, you know, when the casting breakdown came out, they were like, well, you got to go for this. And sure enough, you know, I got a call back, and then another call back, and another call back, and I think it was 5 or 6 auditions, and the last couple were in New York. Yeah, and I had to audition in front of Frankie Valli and in front of Bob Gaudio, who was Frankie's, you know, best friend and the business partner in Jersey Boys. So the real guys, you know, who gave the okay to have their story told in this musical, they also have casting authority. So yeah, and I was pretty trippy to meet those guys and to audition in front of them. And
yeah, but you had to retrain your voice, no? Because doesn't he sings a lot in falsetto, or I mean, if people don't know falsetto, it's like a high, almost. How do you explain that in layman's terms? Falsetto,
like screechy high, yeah.
Really high, yeah.
Like wah! You know, like way up there, right? And and so to play Frankie, like it's very challenging because you're the lead role in the show, which means you're on stage for almost the whole show, which means you're in a lot of scenes, and you age from like age 16 to probably like 45. And some of the scenes are very dramatic. And so you're yelling in some scenes, and, you know, and every minute and a half you sing another song. and like you said, like it's in a range that is super, super high. So, yeah, it's gotta be if not the most challenging male role, like it's gotta be one of them for sure. And yeah, so they had a singing teacher who helped out the guys that were playing Frankie, but you had to be able to do it in the auditions on your own to get the job, because they couldn't, you know, they weren't going to just cast somebody and then try to train them. So in all those auditions and callbacks, I did have to sing those notes. And I think, like I said earlier, you know, just having, as a boy, sung along with all these songs, and I guess I was pretty comfortable in the falsetto range up there. And with all my training up until that point, I was able to kind of figure out how to come in and out of that falsetto voice and back into my normal voice. And then when I got the part, the interesting thing is that they sent us down to Nashville, Tennessee, to work in a recording studio with Bob Gaudio for 3 full days, where he basically was like, okay, we got to make you sound like Frankie. So we got to find your Frankie sound. And he was sitting on the opposite side of the glass. I'm in a recording studio, and they're playing Frankie's songs, and I'm singing. And he's like, no, I needed more nasal. No, I needed more edgy. No, I need more belt. No, I need more growl. No, I need more this. And I was like, who am I right now? You know, but it was really great. And the singing teacher that they have on all the Jersey Boys productions was really helpful to, because the big problem when you're doing all that screeching and if you're overusing your voice is you get muscle tension. Just like if you don't run much and then you decided to run 10K, you wouldn't be able to walk for a week, right? That's muscle tension and tightness from exertion. So they would help with, you know, kind of taking the exertion out of the voice so that you could do it every day. And
the pressure of doing that.
Yeah.
Did you do all 8 shows, or did you do 6 shows a week?
That's right. No, just 6. So in theater, everybody normally does 8 shows a week. Right. You work 6 days a week, and twice a week you do 2 shows in a day. But with Jersey Boys, right from the well, I guess not the original production, but the from the Broadway production on, they decided to split the role up into one man who does the thing 6 times a week, so every day once, and then another actor who does it on Wednesday afternoon and Saturday afternoon. Usually, it's the way it works.
You have to live.
Can you talk about the challenges and the joys of going on for 700 performances? Like,
Yeah. The challenges, well, I mean, I've pretty much talked about them, just the sheer exertion vocally, but as well physically, because you're on stage for, I think that somebody figured out that Frankie's off stage for 7 minutes in the 2.5-hour show. So you're always on, you're always dancing, you're always using your voice. So the biggest challenge is getting enough rest. And I had a 1-year-old and a 2.5-year-old when I got this job. I was not getting rest, and I'm not a big guy, and I lost weight pretty quickly, and it was getting a little bit unhealthy, to be honest with you. So we had to make some life changes. We actually had to move into a bigger house so that my bedroom could be further away from the kids so that I could sleep. Like we had to, I couldn't go out after the show. I couldn't drink. I couldn't eat after the show because if I did, I would get acid reflux, and then that would affect my singing ability the next day. Like there were a lot of challenges, and the first 6 months were pretty much like, I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to make it. And then after that 6 months, you kind of go, I think I got it. I think I made it. It's still really hard, but I think I'm going to make it. And so we did the 2 years in Toronto. Yeah. And then the amazing thing is that they were like, we're not done with you, man. We want to keep using you. And I'm like, amazing. Where? And they're like, I don't know, maybe New York, maybe Chicago, maybe the West End. And I was like, awesome, let's do it. And then they're like, how about Australia? And I'm like, isn't that like a little far away from home? But of course you don't get to pick, And then I thought, well, I love Australia. I had been there before. And I was, Sydney is one of my favorite cities in the world. And that's where they wanted me to go first. And I was just like, I'm going to go, like, let's make it happen. So I ended up doing 2 or 3 different contracts in Australia over the next couple years as well. Which
God bless your wife, Christine, and your girls. I mean, because that had to be an undertaking for them also. To have your dad and husband away for a period of time so he can fulfill his dream.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the reality of being an actor, is that sometimes these opportunities come up when it's not really a great time, but you either say yes and experience them, or you say no and you regret missing out on a dream role or something, right? So
did it give you lots of opportunity, Jeff? I know you sang the anthems at so many baseball games and stuff. I mean,
well, oh, look, yeah, there I am. I'm the world's biggest baseball fan, right? Like baseball was my first love before anything else. So the fact that somehow or other from doing Jersey Boys, I ended up being one of the regular anthem people for the last 10 years has been a dream come true too. Like just to hang out on the field for an hour before the game and see some of the players. And I've got to meet some of the players, and I became friends with some of the guys. Like it was pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're a theater actor. You're still relatively unknown compared to, series leads on TV shows or movie stars. You know what I mean? It's pretty, it's pretty low key, but I do enjoy it.
As you say, 700 performances and 1 million people have seen you.
Yeah.
And then you're on a TV show and 1 million people can see you in one night.
Yeah, like that.
It's just the different mediums like that.
Yes.
But let's go move forward now. Speaking of your blessed career, and Come From Away, which is a remarkable play that you're in the middle of doing until COVID interrupted. Take us a bit on that journey and your experience getting into that show.
Yeah. Man, it's so hard to talk about it in the past tense, March 13th was effectively the day that Toronto shut down, where pretty much everything stopped. And that's Friday the 13th. And that was our last show. And up at we'd been on a record breaking run for a Canadian play. It was 2 years and 3 months at that point, I think, something like that. So Come From Away is like, it's another dream come true for sure. Another hit musical. This one like the opposite end of the spectrum from Jersey Boys. Like nobody would have expected a story about, you know, the fallout of 9/11 to become a great big Broadway smash. But of course, it's message of kindness and empathy and caring for each other and community. And, you know, in a time of tragedy, like it's just so resonant today. And it's so needed today. So like, after Jersey Boys and after my trip to Australia and all of that, I kind of shifted gears because I was away for quite a long time. And I was like, I need to find something to do that's a bit more rooted. And so I went back to school. I got my master's in education and I started teaching. And I've been teaching ever since. And I kind of thought, well, if I can get a full-time teaching gig, then maybe I'll just do that, at least for the time being, while my kids are growing up and going to school, so I can be more a part of their lives. The full-time thing didn't really happen, still hasn't really happened. And so I was working part-time, but I was like, we need more, you know, full-time income for the family. And I kind of got out of the theater game for a few years. And then when I heard about Come From Away, and I was teaching at Sheridan, so I was very aware of the development of the musical. So when they announced the Canadian company, I was like, well, there's a part in there for me. I'm pretty sure I'd be really good for this part. So I'm gonna audition. And just like, that's what I mean about how lucky I've been, is that after 4 years of not auditioning for anything, that I just kind of threw my name in the hat and then eventually ended up getting a job on the show. And this was very fast. This was not like my Jersey Boys audition experience. This was just, I think, 2 or 3 auditions within a span of a couple of weeks, and then boom, got the offer. And of course, my first year I was a swing, which is somebody who learns the roles of 4 other people. And then you wait backstage, biting your fingernails off, to find out if you get to go on that night or not. And so very, very different kind of job. But I did that for a year. And I went on a lot. Like, I guess I went on for all 4 of the actors that I covered. I think I did maybe 50 performances in total. And somewhere in that year, the actor that was playing one of those 4 roles decided to leave the company, and they offered his role to me. So from that point on, I became a regular, you know, member of the cast, and I performed every night ever since, except for when I got hurt or sick or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Pressure must have been very, very different, because Come From Away is such an ensemble piece. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's really a community, where Jersey Boys was just so myopic. I mean, really, it's Frankie Valli, and that's it.
Well,
you know? So
there is a very, very talented ensemble that is required to make Jersey Boys work.
No doubt, yes.
And they're like incredibly talented. They have to play so many different parts. They're zipping furniture on and off and all this kind of stuff, singing off stage, harmonies while getting their wigs changed. Like, it's pretty intense. But from the audience's point of view, yeah, they do get a lot of my face in that show. But in Come From Away, you're right. It's completely designed completely differently. I mean, we are telling the story of several thousands of people. And so the concept of that is that the 12 actors, 6 men and 6 women, basically change roles very quickly to tell all of these stories. And so we're almost always on stage, all 12 of us. And there's no intermission. So it starts and it goes to the end. And then you're like, hey, we did it, you know, and then you go home. So yeah, very different, but still a lot of pressure, because the dexterity required to switch characters literally at the drop of a hat or the donning of a hat, and not just switching characters, but switching dialects from Newfoundland to maybe British, or Newfoundland to standard American accent. Yeah. So, but so much fun. And the audience response, of course, like they just, you know, they're sitting in the palm of our hands, and it's something I miss so much, as you guys well know. Just the reaction from the audience is just.
I was going to say how joyous that is to be in 2 shows like that. That at the end of the show, people are on their feet cheering. I mean,
I know, Abe, I've been very fortunate, but yeah, you can't beat it, man. You can't beat it. In Jersey Boys, I became like a rock star in front of everybody's eyes. and literally leaping to their feet and screaming like I really was a rock star, getting, nominated into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something, which is an amazing thing for your ego. But yeah, not every show is like that, but certainly I've been fortunate to have those amazing experiences.
Were you ever considered to be part of the movie?
For Jersey Boys, I auditioned for the film. Yeah.
Right.
But it was directed by Clint Eastwood, and I think it was attached to many, many, many different directors first. And then when Clint got it, it was basically like, well, Clint makes movies in 3 weeks, so let's give it to him. And he cast it by video. And I was in Australia at the time, so I made a video and I submitted it. But whatever. They went with the guy that won the Tony Award on Broadway. Like, how can you go wrong with that? So,
is it playing anywhere now still, or is it?
Yeah, I think it was playing on Norwegian Cruise Lines. They got the exclusive rights to do the show there.
Wow.
And it had revived off Broadway, and now I think the rights are gonna be opened up like regionally. So it'll be coming to like the Harold Green Theater very soon, I'm sure.
There you go. Well, we hope that the vaccine. Speaking of drug, your dad being a pharmaceutical man, pharmaceuticals will get us out of this. And yes, and this spring may everything work well so that you can get back where you belong, doing Come From Away. We'd love to get back and have shows in our theater. And you're as talented as you are nice, and there's a reason you've got these great shows because of your talent. It's not by accident. It's funny, you started, as you talked about, music being so prominent in your house and singing all the time, and luck is really opportunity in place, and being at the right time, but being prepared. And you've prepared your life, I think, for this career that you have and you've earned, and the audiences are blessed to be able to watch you work.
David,
and thank you enough for being part of this conversation.
Unfortunately, these things are a half hour, but I could have talked for you for so long. But the thing is, every time we see each other, and you've done stuff for the Harold Green before, and our fundraisers and stuff like that, it's always a gift. I was always a fan. I still am. So, Jeff, thank you so much for being our last guest. I'm so glad we were able to spend this time together, and I wish you much well, and Christine and the girls, and love you, my friend, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you so much, Avery. You guys.
But before we go, we have this little lightning round.
Yes.
But before we even do the lightning round, we want to thank the person who's the technical person behind this, Samantha. If you want to say a quick hello.
Hi.
A bit of a delay.
Thank you. I enjoyed the show.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful time.
So, Jeff, we always finish with the Greenwin lightning round. So the first question is, do you have a middle name, and what is it?
Yes, Lawrence, after my grandfather, the piano playing musician.
Cool.
So you can call me Jeffrey
Dark
Larry.
or milk chocolate?
Oh, dark chocolate.
Sure. Dark chocolate.
Fox News or CNN?
Oh, I guess CNN, but kind of neither.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Favorite TV series growing up? One of them.
Oh God. What's one with Michael J. Fox? Family Ties.
Family Ties.
Yeah.
Family Ties. Oh, I love that. You're a young man.
Who was your teen idol crush?
I don't know, the Spice Girls, like all of them.
I'm with you there. Who is your 2020 crush?
Avery Saltzman, I think.
Well,
oh, there you go.
Good night, everybody. And the last question, Jeff, if you had one word for the future of humanity, what would that word be?
Empathy.
Nice.
Just care for you.
Powerful word.
Absolutely.
Listen, care. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, my friend, thank you so much. We'll speak soon, and thank you to our audiences again. And maybe we'll be back next year with the Greenwin talk shows, and we'll bring Jeff back for another half hour.
Woohoo!
Okay. Good night,
Thank you
everybody.
so much,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks.
Good night. Thank you.